Hello everyone, myself Venu, lecturer in mechanical engineering from Government Polytechnic Varangal. Today's topic is on a lecture on air refrigeration. So all of you know that the, if you take this how we are getting the cooling effect by using the air as a source, and all of you know that the air is abundantly available in the nature and it has very safest properties if we use the air as a medium, as a cooling medium, to get the cooling effect. And here uh, compared to other refrigeration processes, where here it is a freely available, the source whatever the air, it is a freely available. But the thing is, uh, here the air will not get the phase change will not take place when compared with the other heat carrying mediums or any other refrigerants. The heat carrying capacity is very less compared to that, and it carries only the sensible heat. So due to that, carrying the sensible heat in the sense only, uh, the phase change will not take place, only the temperature, the changes will take place in this. And here it produces the low refrigerating effect. It means a low cooling effect if you take per kg of air. So the requirement of the air for that particular refrigerating effect, the requirement or the volume of air it required is more the volume of air is required. And for that purpose it requires very bulky equipments. The cost of that particular equipment for getting a particular refrigerating effect, it may be get increased. And here the looking at the COP also, coefficient of performance, it is also very low for the air refrigeration equipments, and it has some high operating costs also. But let us have a look how we are getting the refrigerating effect by using the air as a refrigerant. Here we will learn some systems and air refrigeration cycle and how will be utilized. And one thing, this air refrigeration frequently used in the aircrafts. Why? Because the very pressurized air is available, uh, the whatever the component which are present in the aircraft, like a supercharger, you are getting high pressurized or high compressed air which can be utilized directly, and the cost of the equipment can also be reduced. So most of the these air refrigeration processes or equipments used in the aircrafts due to the availability of the high pressure air, right? So coming to the air refrigeration, so already I discussed the refrigeration system. It employs the air as a working fluid, so we are calling it as a air refrigeration. And here we are taking as a refrigerant the working fluid is uh, of a refrigeration system is known as refrigerant. Whatever the heat carrying medium is there, so which is absorbing the heat or rejecting the heat. And here we can explain the air refrigeration with the help of these two methods. One is the open cycle air refrigeration method, and the second one is closed cycle air refrigeration method. So if you explain one of them, you can understand the next second one very easily. If you observe the open cycle, we'll see open cycle air refrigeration. So in this system, the air or the refrigerant here we are using will be in the direct contact with the space to be cooled. So whatever the portion is there, the cold chamber space or whatever the refrigerated space is there, here the air is cold air is making direct contact with the products or with the substances. So air which is used in the refrigerated space, so after making contact with the products or any other substances, so it is directly discharged to the atmosphere, so without recirculation. So it is not a closed loop, it is an open loop. Once if you are using that particular quantity of air, that after using the refrigerated space, that air is again sent to the atmosphere without recirculating in the system. Here you can have a line diagram of the open cycle air refrigeration system. So where it consists of some components, like the main component is a compressor to compress the air. So and next to the compressor, it is a given connection to the heat rejector. A heat exchanger is there, a heat exchanger where heat is rejected to the surroundings here. And next to the heat exchanger, here the expander is provided here, where further expansion of the air will take place, and after expansion, whatever the cold air is there, it is sent to the cold chamber. So after exposing to the cold chamber, whatever the air is there, it is sent again to the surrounding atmosphere. We'll see the clearly one by one. So these are all the basic components what we have explained: compressor, heat exchanger, and next to heat exchanger we have the expander. Next one is the cold chamber or a refrigerated space. So these are the basic elements of the open cycle air refrigeration system. And here what happens in the compressor, after entering the air, so the air undergoes the compression process in the compressor. So that pressurized air or compressed air, so is next sent from the compressor, it's sent to the heat rejector, where heat exchanger heat rejection will take place whenever it make contact with some cooling medium. So the compressed air is then cooled in the heat exchanger. Then the cold air, after rejecting out heat, the cold air will enters into the expander, where it is further expanded in that, and further cooling process will take place of that air. So low temperature is can be created in the expand. Next, the cold air after expansion is directed to the refrigerated space. So whatever the space cold chamber is there, so in that we are sending this cold air directly making contact with the products or substances. So air after picking heat from the refrigerated space, it is discharged to the atmosphere. As I already explained, this air is not utilized again and again, not recirculated, it is sent to the atmosphere. Next, we'll see the Carnot refrigeration cycle. As before that, just you can assume what is a closed cycle refrigeration. Again the same case, it is a closed loop. Instead of after expanding the air, expansion take place, and further the air temperature gets reduced and it is exposed, or it can be utilized in the cold chamber. So after utilizing in the cold chamber, that whatever the heat taken by the air, it is again sending back to the atmosphere. But in the closed loop, again whatever the warm air is there, it is again supplied back to the compressor. Okay, so further during that process, it carries some moisture content. So there we can use some safety devices like a dryer can be placed. Why? Because whenever it is making contact with the refrigerated space, the products which are having some moisture content are like that, so it can be absorbed by the air. So during the expansion process, what happens, it will choke the tubes. Very low temperatures are created at the expander, so during that it may choke the pipe, or it may choke the walls which are present at the expander, at the expansion wall. So here a dryer is placed, so the moisture content which is there, it can be removed out, so that it can be make like a closed loop. Next we will discuss the Carnot air refrigeration cycle. So here we have the PV diagram and the TS diagram. So where it consists of four reversible processes. So you can see this is a PV diagram and a TS diagram. We'll explain the four different processes, and it has two isentropic processes and two isothermal processes. So compression will take place from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, and expansion will take place from 3 to 4 and 4 to 1. So it is a reversible processes. We'll see the processes one by one. So the same as explained, two isentropic process and two isothermal process, which can be shown in the diagrams, PV and TS diagrams. The basic components, already you know that compressor, heat exchanger, expander, and cold chamber. Right. So the first process from 1 to 2, if you consider, it is a isentropic compression process or a reversible adiabatic process, the 1 to 2 process. So during this process, what happens in the PV diagram and TS diagram, you can see it clearly. So what is happening here, the compression process is taking place from 1 to 2. So during this process, the pressure increases from P1 to P2. Pressure is increasing, and the volume decreases from V1 to V2 during the process 1 to 2, and the temperature will also here you can see that temperature will also increases from pressure and temperature. It changes from P1 T1 to P2 T2. It is also temperature will also increases, and here the no heat is taking place, rejection or absorption by the air. No heat is rejected, or so zero heat transfer is taking place. Zero heat transfer is there during this process. It is a isentropic compression process from 1 to 2, and similarly in the next continuation 2 to 3 process, it is a isothermal compression process. So further compression will take place, where here it is taking place isothermally. It means a constant temperature process. So pressure increases further. If you observe, pressure increasing from P2 to P3, and during this compression process, uh, the volume is also getting decreased from V2 to during this compression from V2 to V3. And but here the thing is isothermal compression, in this the temperature remains constant. This explain volume decrease from V2 to V3. Next, here what is happening, heat is rejected by the air. So in the heat exchanger, just like that, from 2 to 3 process, the heat is rejected by the air here. Next, the process is from 3 to 4. It is an expansion process that is taking place isentropically or adiabatic, reversible adiabatic, where the air is now expanding here. So during this expansion, if you observe the PV diagram, the pressure is reducing from P3 to P4. Similarly, the temperature will also falls from T3 to T4. And what happened to the volume is slightly increases from point B3 to B4. You can observe in the diagram. Volume increases, pressure and temperature will get falls. So here also during 3 to 4 process isentropic expansion, no heat is absorbed or no heat is rejected. Next, the last 4 to 1 process, here if you observe, it is a isothermal expansion process. Again, what is happening here, the air is further expanded isothermally from 4 to 1. During this process, from the PV diagram, the pressure further falls from P4 to P3, and if you observe the temperature, it is isothermal process, the temperature remains constant, volume increases from V4 to V1. Okay, pressure and pressure getting fall, temperature remains constant, volume get increases from V4 to V1. During this process, so heat is absorbed by the air. So whatever the cooled air is there in the cold chamber, it is absorbing the heat from the products or substances. So it is absorbed by the air during the process 4 to 1. So these are the 4 processes, 2 isentropic process and 2 isothermal processes. Okay, you see the how to find the COP. The output you are getting here is the refrigerating effect, and work supplied or whatever the work done, you can considering that. So you're writing that COP as refrigeration effect by work done. So whatever the refrigeration effect, that is output is heat absorbed from cold body. It means during 4 to 1 process, so heat is absorbed by the air. So where you can write in mathematical form by the temperature and entropy from the formula, where it can be written as heat absorbed equal to T1 into S2 minus S3. These S2 and S3 are the respective entropy at the points 2 and 3. You can observe in the TS diagram. And the heat rejected to hot body during the process 2 to 3 process, heat rejection process. 4 to 1 process is the heat absorption process by the air. So the same mathematical formula written as T2 into S2 minus S3. Okay. Next, you see the work done during the cycle per kg of air. So considering 1 kg of air for this process, now the work done for this thing is, it can be written as heat rejected minus heat absorbed. So the already we have seen this mathematical formulas is T2 into S2 minus S3 minus of T1 into S2 minus S3. This is the work done. So finally you can write the COP. Already we have written that the refrigerating effect by work done. So refrigerating effect is nothing but heat absorbed during the process 4 to 1. It is T1 into S2 minus S3. By work done is already we have written this formula. So after writing this, if you do the simplification of this, finally you can write the COP formula as COP equal to, simply you can write that T1 by T2 minus T1. So this is the COP of Carnot refrigeration cycle. So it is a purely theoretical cycle. So coming to the limitations, so why I have told that is a theoretical, why it is not feasible for practically. So if you observe during this explanation of this processes, we have seen mainly the compression is done by the two processes. One is isentropic compression during 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 is isothermal compression. So during this, what happens, if you observe, to have this reversible adiabatic or isentropic compression, the material of the piston and cylinder should be insulated. So why this limitation means, you have observed one point there. During this isentropic compression, the heat transfer is zero. So heat transfer is zero in the sense, material of the piston and cylinder, whatever you are using there, must and should be completely insulated one. So 100% insulation has to be made. So it is not available in the nature. So it is not possible, and it is a limitation for this Carnot refrigeration cycle to make it practically feasible. And next, here the piston should move with very high speed such that it will not find the time for heat transfer. So what you have to make the heat transfer zero? What you have to do? You have to design the piston should move with very faster rate, with very high speed it has to move. So the gap within the short gap, heat transfer will not find the time to transfer to transfer the heat. So it is uh, somewhat not possible. And next, limitations if we observe, similarly to achieve that, okay, continuation, we'll see that the same thing, uh, very again the same thing, it is also impossible to move the piston very slowly during isothermal process, and very fast during the adiabatic process. I have explained all this, the thing is very fast during adiabatic process, reversible adiabatic process or isentropic process. And piston at one time it has, during isentropic it has to move very faster rate, the piston, and during the isothermal process it has to move, the piston has to move very slowly. So it is a highly impossible case, and it is also forming one limitation. Already explained that. So heat transfer is zero. So to achieve this, cylinder should be made perfectly insulating material, so which is not a possible case. So this is a limitations. And okay, so this is the uh, till now we have studied. If you summarize that, we have seen the air refrigeration process and methods of air refrigeration, like how different types, like open cycle and the closed cycle. And next, we have seen the open cycle, and make some analysis of Carnot air refrigeration cycle, and we have seen how to find the COP of Carnot air refrigeration cycle, as it is a, we have seen some limitations of Carnot air refrigeration cycle, why it is a theoretical cycle, because the design limitations are there for that. Why, since it is an impossible case, so you are considering it as a theoretical one. Next, we'll see the air refrigerator working on a Bell-Coleman cycle. We'll see the air refrigerator working on a Bell-Coleman cycle. Here we see the how next, in the previous class we have seen that the Carnot cycle working, and some analysis we have done. And next we will see the and also we have seen the COP of that particular Carnot cycle, where the refrigeration, how the effect you are getting. Now we will see the Bell-Coleman cycle, or it's a reversed Joule cycle. We will see the line diagram of that, the Bell-Coleman cycle. So here The air refrigerator working on Bell-Coleman cycle is developed by the Bell-Coleman and Lightfoot. The scientist named the Bell-Coleman, so it is named as the cycle Bell-Coleman cycle. So it is also air refrigerator working on this cycle. So here this is the line diagram, and here you can see the components. The main components utilized or used in this air refrigerator is similar to the just what we have seen in the Carnot refrigeration cycle. So here in this Bell-Coleman cycle, the main components are first, if you observe here, there is a compressor. A round structure is there. There is a compressor, and to this compressor you can see two pipelines are connected. One is entry and one is exit. So from the compressor, if you observe, the entry line is coming from the refrigerated space. If you observe the pipe here, pipe is coming and making connect with the so here this refrigerated space pipe, it is getting exit here and making entry to the compressor, and from the compressor the exit will take place here, and through the pipeline, this pipeline is connected to the next component, that is a heat exchanger. You can see the heat exchanger piping system, so this left side, and next this pipeline from the heat exchanger, the pipeline is making contact or making connection with the expander here or to the expansion valve. You can see here, and to the expander also there is an inlet and exit here, and after the exit from the heat exchanger, it is making entry to the expander, and similarly the pipeline here, the exit of the expander is making connection to the entry of the evaporator here. So entry of evaporator is from expander, and exit of evaporator is going to the compressor. So these are the main components. First one is compressor, second one is heat exchanger, and third one is expander, and fourth one is the evaporator. So we can clearly explain the working of all these all the functions of these components clearly by analyzing the Bell-Coleman cycle. And so just briefly I will explain. So all in these pipes, the air is flowing with some higher temperatures or with some lower temperatures. So depending on the components, depending on their function, the warm and cold air will flows inside the pipes. So starting from the compressor, you know the working of the compressor. So the air which is entering or coming from the refrigerated space enters into the compressor. Here the air gets compressed, where the pressure and temperature increases in this compressor part, and that increased pressure air is sent into the heat exchanger here. So in this heat exchanger, so it will act like a condenser, named as a condenser. Here it's a constant pressure process where the temperature drop will take place here, and the pressure will remains constant in this the condenser part or a heat exchanger. Why it is named as heat exchanger means through this if you observe through this pipeline, the air is passing through this pipeline. So it's coming with very high temperature from the compressor. After entering into the cooler or a heat exchanger or a condenser, see another circuit is maintained here, the cooling water in and cooling water out here. So whenever the cooling water is passed through this heat exchanger, it is not making direct contact with the air. The heat exchange will take place. Whatever the hot air is there, giving out its temperature to the cooling water, and further the water gets heated, and the temperature is carried by the water to the outside, and that reduced temperature air is without changing its pressure, high pressurized low temperature air, it is sent to the expander for further expansion to reduce the very low temperatures by reducing the pressure drastically. Further, the lesser temperatures will get in the expander. So this is the function of the expander. After the expansion take place, very low temperature of air, it will passes to the next component, that is the refrigerated space. Nothing but you can consider it as an evaporator, where the evaporation process will take place. we can consider like the evaporator part. What happens here, the whatever the very low temperature air is coming out here, that not the evaporation will take place here. See, the whatever the air is coming with very low temperature, heat exchange will take place here. The products which are placed inside the refrigerated space, they may get cooled, and the products heat is taken away by the air, and again the air is becoming warm. That warm air is again sent back to the compressor, you can see here. So this is a complete cycle, and these are the main four main components involved in this, where it is utilizing the air as the pressurized air here with the help of the compressor, and how you are getting the refrigerating effect in the refrigerated space. And this is about the explanation of the line diagram of a air refrigerator working on Bell-Coleman cycle. So observe this PV and TS diagram here. So again the same four processes will be there in this. You can observe the TS and PV diagram. So it consists of isentropic two isentropic processes and two constant pressure processes. You can observe in the diagrams here. Two isentropic processes. You can see in the TS diagram 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. Those are the two here. In the PV diagram 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. Those are the reversible adiabatic processes. And 2 to 3 and 4 to 1. These are the constant pressure processes. You can see in the PV diagram. So the total four processes are there. So explaining about the isentropic compression process. You can see the diagram very clearly here, how the pressure is increasing, and from point 1 to 2, and how the pressure is maintaining constant. So these four processes 1 to 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 1 are happen in the whatever the component whatever the main components we have seen in the Bell-Coleman cycle of a refrigerator, like a 1 to 2 process happening in the compressor, 2 to 3 in the heat rejection or condenser part, and 3 to 4, that is a expansion process. You can see that 4 to 1 is at the refrigerated space or in the evaporator or in the cold chamber. So these four processes will take place. We will see the explanation of the process one by one, the Bell-Coleman cycle. So the 1 to 2 process is isentropic compression process. So already I have seen consists of two isentropic and two constant pressure processes. So as earlier what I told, it is also called as a reversible Joule cycle or Breton cycle. Okay, Bell-Coleman cycle or a reversed Joule cycle or Breton cycle. Right. So we will see the processes, all the four processes. The 1 to 2 process is named as isentropic compression process or reversible adiabatic compression process. So here the air is compressed adiabatically in the compressor. 1 to 2 process. What happens here, if you observe in the PV diagram, the pressure is getting increased, changing its point from point 1 to 2 during its phase. What happens, the pressure is changing from or increasing from point 1 to point 2. Similarly, if you observe the volume, so volume gets decreased here. Whenever it is get compressed, volume get decreased, and similarly the temperature is also changes. So it means automatically the pressure is increasing, the temperature will also raises from T1 to T2. So all these 3 points you have to remember. Pressure is raised during process 1 to 2 during isentropic compression, and due to the compression process volume is decreased from V1 to V2, and automatically increase in the pressure, the temperature is raised to T1 to T2. What happens after completion of the work in the compressor, the air is next sent into the condenser part. It is delivered to the it is the exit from the compressor and the entry to the condenser. It enters into the condenser. We will see what happens in the condenser. That is the process 2 to 3. Right. So the 2 to 3 process is named as constant pressure cooling process. If you observe the PV diagram here, So it is a constant pressure cooling process. I already explained what is happening in the condenser. So heat is removed from air in the condenser at constant pressure by circulating the cooling water inside the heat exchanger or in the condenser. Only the heat is removed from the air in the condenser, maintaining the constant pressure. So during this process, pressure remains constant and temperature decreases. If you can observe here, P2 is equal to P3. And what happened to the temperature? So temperature decreases from T2 to T3. Temperature drop will take place because heat is removing out in the condenser. So this is a complete process in the condenser. Next, after completing the process in the condenser, next the cold air is sent to the air expander. Whatever the air expander is there, so the cold air will make entry into the air expander. We will see the next process, that is from 3 to 4. If you observe the PV diagram here, again what happening to these all the silent points, if you observe what happened to the pressure, the pressure drop will take place. 3 to 4 is the isentropic expansion process. So observe it clearly. From 3 to 4, that high pressure cold air, where the temperature is dropping the condenser but the pressure is remaining constant, that means high pressure, that cold air enters into the expander and expands adiabatically. Isentropic expansion will take place in the air expander. What happens to the temperature? If you observe, here the pressure drop is taking place, automatically the temperature fall from you can see that more the temperature drop here due to its expansion process. Temperature drop further it will take place in the expander. And similarly, if you observe that expansion process taking place means the volume increases to a point from point 3 to 4, V3 to V4. Pressure is falling, and now the further cold air, which is expanded in the expander, that enters into the refrigerated space. So this is the last component, and the process is the 4 to 1 process. We'll see the last 4 to 1 process. There is again the same. If you observe the pressure from 4 to 1, it is a constant pressure expansion process. Constant pressure expansion process. Again the pressure is maintained constant here. What you are doing in the refrigerated portion or in the refrigerated space, the heat is extracted from the refrigerated space by the cold air. Whatever the cold air is entering through the pipes within the refrigerated space, whatever the temperature is there, that temperature or that heat is absorbed or extracted by the cold air, and it is absorbed by the cold air at constant pressure. Now the temperature of the air increases. What happens when it absorbs the heat from the refrigerated space? Whenever we are placing some products or anything, or at the empty space, absorbing the temperature by the air, what happens? The temperature of the air increases from T4 to T1. You can observe here. It is a 4 to 1 process. Temperature increases from T4 to T1. Okay, so this is regarding the analysis of the Bell-Coleman cycle by using PV and TS diagram. And also we have seen the importance of the components of Bell-Coleman cycle. Next, the continuation we will see the COP of Bell-Coleman cycle. Okay, so how to find the COP? The same as the Carnot cycle. We have seen that output to the input, refrigeration effect by the work done. So see here, mathematically we will find the COP of the Bell-Coleman cycle. First we will see the two things here, heat rejection, and we will find the heat absorption. Heat rejection is taking place at the process 2 to 3, means it is taking place in the condenser. So during constant pressure process from 2 to 3, so heat rejection can be written, it is equal to, mathematical form is equal to Cp. So Cp into T2 minus T3. T2 minus T3. This is a heat rejection during constant temperature process, and heat absorption is taking place. It means heat is absorbed by the air in the refrigerated space. That is done during the process 4 to 1. So heat absorption can be written or during constant pressure process 4 to 1. So it is written as it is equal to Cp into T1 minus T4 into T1 minus T4. So here the highest temperature is a T1 and the lesser temperature is a T4. Okay. So remember that. Next we'll see the work done during the cycle, considering for 1 kg of air is sent into the cycle, and what is the work done during this cycle. So it can be written as heat rejected minus heat absorbed. Already we have seen the formula. So heat rejected is equal Cp into T2 minus T3 minus Cp into T1 minus T4. So this is the work done. And what is the net refrigeration effect, or what is the refrigeration effect? That is output. That is nothing but heat absorbed by the air in the refrigerated space. So we will see the COP can be written as heat absorbed by work done, nothing but refrigeration effect by work done. So it can be written like this: heat absorbed equal to Cp into T1 minus T4. Work done is Cp into T2 minus T3 minus Cp into T1 minus T4. Now you can see here, we can further simplify this, and the Cp get cancelled. We can write the simplified form as like this. The specific heats can be get cancelled here, and it can be written as T1 minus T4 by T2 minus T3 minus T1 minus T4. So common term will get cancelled, Cp and Cp, it will remain like this. So you can write this terminology in another form also. Instead of writing this, you can write the same thing as you can see here. So the same formula can be written as, if you further simplify, it can be written T4 into T1 by T4 minus 1 by T3 into T2 by T3 minus 1 minus T4 into T1 by T4 minus 1. To get all this terminology in common terms, so we are further simplifying this. Now you can see the common terms are there, like T1 by T4, T1 by T4. If you substitute the same value in place of T2 by T3, can we write that this T2 by T3, so it is equal to the T1 by T4. So further if we simplify, we can equate that T2 by T3 is equal to T1 by T4. Right. So here, how we can convert this T2 by T3, or how we can write that T2 by T3 equal to this temperatures T1 by T4. We know that this process during isentropic compression, you can write this as T2 by T1 equal to temperature ratios. So pressure ratio P2 by P1 whole to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. And similarly, you can write in 3 to 4 process expansion with T3 by T4 is equal to P3 by P4 whole to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. So here in these two conditions, if you observe, we have seen the analysis of Bell-Coleman cycle, the PV diagram we have seen from 2 to 3 process, where it is a constant pressure process. P2 is equal to P3. So if you place these two conditions, in place of P2 you can write that as a P3, and in place of P1 you can write this as a P4. So if you equate these two equations, where the P1 P2 equal to P3 and P1 equal to P4, you substitute this one, so you can write this as P2. You can see here, since P2 equal to P3 and P1 equal to P4, right. So further you can write that as T2 by T1 equal to T3 by T4, and if you simplify that, so it can be written as T2 by, for substituting the condition in the this same condition in the previous formula of COP. We can simplify and we can write the same condition as bringing this T3 to the denominator part. So it can be written like this: T2 by T3 equal to T1 by T4. Now we can substitute in place of T2 by T3 in the COP formula. It is equal to T1 by T4. So above ratios in the COP equation we get. Now the COP further simplified, and it can be written as it is equal to T4 by T3 minus T4. This is the formula for COP of the Bell-Coleman cycle. Further it is simplified like this. Okay. So this is the COP of Bell-Coleman cycle. So T4 by T3 minus T4. Okay. And similarly, before completing this topic, end of the topic, we will see some advantage of air refrigeration. Already we have seen that air is freely available in nature, and it has a few properties, like it is a non-flammable, and it will not catch any fire, or it can be used in some ammonia machines. So in spite of the weight of air refrigeration per ton of refrigeration is quite low compared with the other refrigeration systems, right? And due to more availability of air, it can be used in the aircrafts. Okay, already we have seen the initial starting of the class, that is the use of air refrigeration mostly used in the aircrafts due to the availability of the high pressurized air. Okay, so coming to the disadvantages, already I have seen that COP is compared to other refrigeration systems, the COP is low. And what is the reason means, the heat carried out from the refrigerator, it means the whatever the air availability, it cannot change its phase, right? It will carry only the sensible heat. So due to that condition, the heat carried from the refrigerator is very low in the form of sensible heat only. Therefore the weight of air to be circulated is more than the other systems, so more quantity of air is required there to get that particular refrigerating effect. Okay, if that particular medium, for example, if air is maybe it carry latent heat or it changes its phase, so more the COP you can get. There is no possibility of changing its phase, will carry only the sensible heat. Due to that, the COP of the system is very low. And that another disadvantage is moisture present in the air. I already explained that in the expansion valve, I think, that the moisture present in the air, whenever it passes through the expansion valve, it chokes the pipe. It means it will stuck up the pipe. Why? Because at low temperatures are created, they may get freeze during the smaller size pipes. So there is a choking of a pipe will take place, and the system may get damaged. So these are few advantages of air refrigeration, and a few disadvantages of air refrigeration. So hope you have understood in this today's topic, that is regarding the air refrigeration, types of air refrigeration, like open and closed cycle refrigeration. And next discussed regarding the Carnot refrigeration cycle, air refrigeration, analysis of Carnot refrigeration, and seeing some the Bell-Coleman cycle working, what are the components, and seeing the analysis of Bell-Coleman cycle. And in both the cases, Carnot and Bell-Coleman cycle, we have seen the formulas, how to determine how to find the coefficient of performance of the Bell-Coleman cycle and the Carnot cycle. So hope you have understood this session. It will be helpful. So thank you for watching. We'll see a simple example on Carnot cycle, a simple problem, and the question is: an air refrigeration plant working on Carnot cycle between the temperature limits of 30 degrees centigrade and minus 5 degrees centigrade has a capacity of 10 tons. So air refrigeration plant has capacity of 10 tons. It is asking to determine the power input to the plant. What is the power input to the plant? So the given data is the 30 degree centigrade can be taken as the T2 value, is the 30 plus 273. So in Kelvin you can write it as 303 degrees Kelvin, and T1 is so it's minus 5 degrees centigrade. In Kelvin it is 273 minus 5 degrees centigrade, it's 268 degrees Kelvin. So COP can be written as, so it can be written as T1 by T2 minus T1. We know the COP of Carnot cycle, already we have seen. So it can be, the COP is, you are getting it is 7.66. Now after finding out the COP, the capacity of the plant is 10 tons, and here we can, in terms of kilojoules per second or in kilowatts, we can write it as, so 1 ton is equal to, already we have seen 1 tonnage of refrigeration equal to 3.5 kilowatts, or for 10 tons it is 35 kilojoules per second or 35 watts. So that is nothing but the refrigeration effect produced. 1 tonnage of refrigerator is 3.5 kilowatts. Similarly, 10 ton is 10 ton machine refrigerating effect is 35 kilojoules per second or 35 kilowatts. Now the COP, it is equal to refrigerating effect produced by the 10 ton capacity plant, that is a 35 by work done is, we have to find out the work done, that nothing but is how much input power you are giving to the plant. So from, if you are taking the work done to that side, and COP already we have found it is 7.66. So work done is it is equal to 4.57 kilojoules per second, nothing but approximately 5 kilowatts, 5 kilojoules per second. So that is the power input to the plant.